Rick, let's get right to it.
Okay, great. What's the topic?
It's a question for you, and I guess I'll answer it too. The topic is, how do you stay on the path?
Ooh, okay. The path for me involves making sure that a couple of things are lined up, that I have balance in my life, and that begins with having the foundation, which is the physical body in shape. So fitness is important to me. Training is important to me. Resistance training is important to me. Cardio is important to me. And I spend time in my life, I make time, prioritize those things. And I call that part of what I would lump in generally as living purely. And that concerns the foundation, the physical side of things. That has to work. And then I focus on what the psychological, emotional needs are that I have. And the most important one is quieting my monkey mind, quieting my ego. And now there's nothing wrong with the ego because it's trying to protect you. It's just that we need to realize that the ego goes overboard sometimes and tries to take control of the show. The ego is great in terms of protecting, but it's bad at telling you what needs to be protected. Most of the things that you think need to be protected from are not threats at all. So the way that I get in touch with that and to secure my own emotional and psychological health is through meditation. And that's walking meditation, sitting Zen, sitting quietly and meditating. And I do it often, and I do it sometimes more than I would expect if I have a particularly difficult thing I'm dealing with. And then I guess the third thing is to have an open heart that allows love to flow to me. It's important to love someone for me as much as being loved. In fact, it's more like giving the love is actually the love.
Right.
That's the experience of love that I want. And then with the career side of things, what's important to me is to try to do my work with as much mastery as I have or that I can muster, to do my best, to always keep trying on it. So those are the things that I think are required in terms of importance of staying on the path. And probably the overarching principle of this is that we cause our own suffering, and to be mindful of causing our own suffering, and that the things that we need to do, we can do to stop the suffering, and that the suffering comes from desire, wanting things to be different than the way they are, an argument with reality. And so when I find myself arguing with reality or wanting things to be different or better, I know that I need to take a look at that because I'm causing myself the issues. So that's in a nutshell. I mean, I don't mean to be flip about it. These are very hard things to master, and I struggle with them at 74 years old. I still struggle with these things, but boy, I think they're required.
Well, thank you, Rick. I agree with everything that you said, and that's part of how I stay on the path as well. The first part that you talked about was living purely as it relates to the physical health and well-being. That's true for me. I mean, I think Maslow talked about the hierarchy of needs, and he talked about, food, shelter, and all those things that once you satisfy those things, then you can start to take on what's next. And that's how you really start to, have a life that you feel fulfilled with, and you're able to contribute. So like you, the nutrition, the exercise, the sleep, taking care of my physical well-being is really important to me, and that's the foundation. And if I don't, it becomes a barrier to me being able to take on what's next, which is the monkey mind, which is, the thoughts never stop coming, and my ego starts to, manipulate and try to control things because I can't handle reality. And it tries to, fulfill on these expectations that I've just made up. So Michael Singer talks about the mind. Like, the mind is just a computer. The problem is that we've let it run amok, or given it a job that it's not equipped for. It's like it's come up with these are the things that I need to make me happy. And then you tell the mind, I want you to work on it night and day until it happens. And so that's what the mind does. It works on it night and day, and it bothers you because it's trying to manipulate people in the workplace, at home, in your personal life, people you don't even know, resisting situations, the reality of them. And that is just so, it just, me even seeing it is exhausting. Imagine the people that are living that way every day. And I did myself, being obsessive compulsive as a recovering perfectionist. I remember those days. And so once I deal with the physical part of me, and that's all settled, I remove that as a barrier to me feeling fulfilled, experiencing joy, or being able to stay on the path. Then I move on to the psychological, the emotional, which is what you mentioned. And that mindfulness is so key, to be the awareness of my thoughts, but not be identified with them to where I think my thoughts are me and it dictates my behavior. That's the second thing. In a nutshell, and that to me is the most important thing. When I think about what's brought me the most peace in my life, it's been removing the barriers to well-being on the physical side and being committed to that for over 30 years. And two, making the most important thing I do my practice. Before I even try to deal with one thing that is a challenge or a problem, I deal with me first. And that's what the practice is. Everything that shows up that my mind says should be different, shouldn't be happening, this should be another way, that's my work. Not the thing itself, is that voice inside saying that this should be different. They shouldn't have said this, or this should be something different. I can't believe I didn't get the job or the promotion. I can't work with, nope. I got to deal with that first. Once I deal with that, 99% of the time, anything out there that I saw was a problem is not a problem. Like, it's an opportunity for me to go deeper. And so I make that the main thing. And this idea of making that the main thing is something that Monty Williams, the Phoenix Suns coach for the NBA team, said. He said that one thing that often happened with very talented people, athletes, when they come into the professional basketball league, is that when they don't reach their full potential, it's because somewhere along the way, they stop making the main thing the main thing. What they start to do is they start to get caught up into their social status, how the rest of the world views them or sees them. They're trying to manage their brand. They're caught up with all of these other trappings in life that comes with fame, when they're in the league because they've worked on their basketball talent and craft. What I think about with me is when I get caught up or distracted by somebody disagreeing with me, or somebody holding a point of view that I think should be different or should be really like mine. When I get angry about something that I can't control, when I'm reactive, I forgot to make the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is me working on me so I can handle all the other stuff. And so if I was to say, or someone asks me, and they often do, like, Keith, what is, like, you're always like in a good mood, like you're always experiencing joy, you never seem down, like I've never seen you have a bad day. And I'm like, because I don't have bad days. I mean, some days are like, like bursting with joy, but my level state is joy. And so, because I've worked on that being the case, but they asked me why is that the case? I said, because I made the practice the most important thing. I've had people who wanted to do what I do at Mayo Clinic, and they got tired of waiting for an opportunity to open up. And they left that job for another job or went to go work somewhere else. And I'm like, you're just taking your same you to those other places, because it's not about the job that I do. It is, or the job that I'm in, or the position that I have. What it's about is, who am I bringing to that job and that position? Because the job that you're doing right now, you can have the same opportunity to make it all of what you think my job is right now. You can do that with every aspect of your life, every interaction, all your relationships, with every life situation. The only way you do that, though, is you make working on yourself the main thing. Before you go deal with one issue that's affecting your children, before you go deal with your parents and their health or aging or your own illnesses or loss. Work on you first. Make working on you the main thing before you go correct anybody. Tell them off. Hey, I need to talk to you if it's in a relationship. Before I even say, hey, to my partner, I need to go talk to you. Hopefully, I've worked on myself. And Rick, 99.9% of the time when I have worked on me, guess what I don't need to do? Go talk to my partner anymore. Like it's not an issue anymore. Like so that's how I stay on the path, Rick. I make the main thing, which is working on me.
I love that, Keith. It's beautiful advice, and it's a sterling reminder of how difficult it seems to be, but what the enormous payoff is for you if you can achieve it. And you know, you're young enough, you have a whole life ahead of you, having realized this at your age, you know, a few years ago, that your life is spectacular because of it. And I'm just amazed at what you've done in your life.
I had one question for you, Rick. You've known me for a while. God, since 2007. So we've been great
Yeah.
friends for 16 years. You know what I was like before, and
Yeah.
you know how much I've worked on myself, especially over the last 8 years. And I know that you were concerned about like me and my well-being over that time. Um, can you share what those concerns were, and have I got on the other side of that?
Well, the biggest thing was that you had have so much to offer other people in terms of you're a natural teacher, you're a natural sharer, you are wonderful about relating experiences that become universal, that really are stories that we've all had some kind of experience with, but you touch people in a special way. What I was concerned about was that the way that you went about expressing yourself was not the kind of way that most people would be receptive to. You were very top down. This is the way you do it. There's no other way besides my way. And I'm withholding love. I'm withholding respect from you unless you come aboard and do it my way. Well, many people could follow that, or at least some people could follow that, but you would miss 90% or a high percentage of your audience with that kind of message. Instead of being the example and then allowing people to either engage or disengage. What I was concerned about that was you become so invested in helping other people that when they failed and bailed out and didn't keep their commitments, that you felt that was a personal slight to yourself, which it wasn't. That was their path. That was their choice. You showed them opportunities. They took advantage of some, rejected others, but you took it so strongly that was a recipe for either becoming completely cynical about the people you were trying to reach, or becoming even more hardened and even more top down than you were. And that's, I think that leads to frustration. It leads to excess. You know, you'd have to have an outlet somewhere. And I was fearful that would lead to something bad for you. The reality, though, is that there are. I think your mom probably is responsible for this good thing, like most of our mothers are responsible for good things that happen to us. Your mom's example of teaching you things and showing you by experience what the right way to do was. You were open to that. And you could see after a while, when you had a couple of hits in your life that were very strong, that you couldn't ignore, very cataclysmic in your life, that caused you to stumble and think maybe there's something wrong here in the way I'm pursuing this. Maybe there's another way that could lead to a more effective way and a better way for me to be happy. And once that happened, then it was the floodgates, you know, then you're open to Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra and Michael Singer and many of these other people that helped me so much in trying to overcome my deficits. Not that I've overcome them, but look at them and deal with them.
Wow. Thank you, Rick. I mean, as you were taking me through that, it was all accurate. I mean, I was that's where I was. And Fortunately, I didn't think about that, but yes, my mom's example and allowing those experiences to finally be my teacher, for me, not for others, but for me, uh, helped me have an opening. And yeah, well, I'm glad I finally got it. So, and I'm still getting it. And I just wanted, before, as we close out, I just want to thank you for never once, withholding love from me, or even when you gave me advice and I didn't readily take it, that your advice and your love for me remained unconditional, whether I followed it or not. You never once closed your heart to me. You never once restricted how much friendship you would extend to me. And you just gave me a lot of grace, and you remained patient. And finally, I I took your hand. So thank you, Rick. I love you.
I love you, Keith. It's too much credit. You did it all on your own, man. But you were, I don't mean to paint this terrible picture. You were a sterling example of discipline and hard work and achievement. And those things are powerful, powerful, powerful goals. And you still are that way. You haven't lost that. It's just that now when you communicate with people and you bring them along in a way that they understand and feel love. And that's so priceless in this culture, which is, love is weakness kind of thing, especially among men. It's sort of a taboo. You can't really help another man and tell the other man you love him when you do,
Right.
because it's the macho crap that we have to deal with. But anyway, the point is, I love this version of Keith, but I love the old one too.
Thank you, Rick. I love you, man.
I love you. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.